Members of Parliament want the Ministry of Education to develop a comprehensive junior secondary policy to address the shortcomings in the implementation of competency-based curriculum. While contributing to the motion by Mbeere North Member of Parliament Geoffrey Ruku, the lawmakers want a proper funding plan developed by the government that will lead to the establishment of junior secondary schools in every primary school to ensure the new curriculum is implemented to optimal levels. Gloria Musimbi with more.
Concerns over the successes and shortcomings of CBC by the lawmakers come at a time when a task force looking into the education system in its preliminary report recommended the country to have a 5-year transition period to phase out the 844 system. Led by Mbeere North MP Geoffrey Ruku, the legislature's called for the development of a policy for funding of junior secondary schools JSS in the country, whilst regretting that the government proceeded to implement the policies, yet schools have no basic infrastructure such as classrooms, workshops and playing grounds for children.
The funding of the junior secondary school is to be well considered by the government so that there can be sustainability, good governance, access to curriculum support materials, and also pedagogical approaches. And also we look at public-private partnership in implementing this framework, and inclusion and equity in education, especially in arid and semi-arid areas and people living with disabilities.
I think we need to remove that word urges. We should resolve. We should amend to resolve. Urges means they may or may not, but we want them to do. And if you have to put it into an act of parliament, Honorable Ruku, go ahead on this one, we'll support you.
On his part, Lugari MP Nabii Nabwera, who supports the CBC curriculum, said the lack of policy and clear framework has affected the successful implementation of the CBC as the country transitioned from an 844 system of education.
Rightfully so, Madam Speaker, the lack of policy and clear framework on what needs to be done by whom and when. It appears that every day the executive is taken by surprise. We've not put enough into the planning of this very well, if implemented, system that will change the life of our nation.
The legislatures want the Ministry of Education to ensure that each primary school has a junior secondary to avoid situation where learners traveling longer distances to school.
And Honorable Speaker, that is why I strongly stand to support the motion that we come up with a better arrangement on how we are going to fund these JSS schools or the primary schools that we had, so that our students can stop traveling long distances to access very basic education in other areas. I, for example, had parents from schools like Wanjide who have come to my office and really complaining because their students are walking a long distance to access education. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate that a bit of staffing is being done. I've looked at the newspapers today and I've seen that TSC has advertised for about 20,000 positions of teachers in JSS primary schools. And I've seen the advert, and I really want to encourage our people to apply for those applications, for those job opportunities.
Every school should be having a full school. What you are calling basic education must begin from ECD to primary to junior secondary and even what we are calling secondary. That will be a standard school, Honorable Speaker, that should be equal in the whole country. We are envisaging that this will enable the government fund schools equally, so that the funding of its rural primary and the funding of Mangu is the same, and the provision of education at those levels is actually the same.
MPs further want primary school teachers trained to teach junior secondary subjects.
And I think it was even ill-advised to post secondary school trained teachers to teach JSS. Because quoting the words that have been sent to by one of the teachers, they are saying they are being subjected to a very difficult situation, having forced to teach subjects that you are not professionally trained for. It is frustrating, it is belittling, it is demoralizing. just to mention the list. So,
in particular, Ruku, who proposed the motion, told the Ministry of Education to develop a comprehensive junior secondary schools policy in order to regularize and anchor the guidelines under the Basic Education Act 2012 to ensure that junior secondary schools are established and operated in every primary school. Reporting for TV News Watch, I'm Gloria Musimbi.